The Sociology of Dissociation by Corema and Lirio. Our research aims to answer the question, how does dissociation resulting from trauma shape time, experience, space, and identity? We have learned throughout the course that mental boundaries help create identities, and symbolic boundaries do each of the following: underlie systems of stratification, create and maintain social relationships between groups and people, and categorize things. Dissociation is a type of mental boundary. It limits the ability to identify and understand cognition, deviance, race and ethnicity, gender and sexuality, institutions and organizations, professions, or jobs. Given that we are college students on Coast Campus, we knew it would be really hard to conduct interviews about dissociation in person. Therefore, to obtain data for our research, we decided to conduct a film analysis of Sybil. The film was directed by Sargent and written by John Pielmeyer. It is based on the 1973 book Sybil by Flora Schreiber. It is a dramatization of Shirley Ardell Mason, a real woman who lived in New York at the time and was diagnosed with multiple personality disorder, also known as dissociative identity disorder. We watched the 2007 version, which is a condensed version of the original 1976 film. So although we mentioned the 16 personalities that Sybil had, not all 16 were shown in the film. Throughout our analysis, we were able to stop the film and take notes and conduct our in-depth analysis of the dissociative episodes that Sybil experienced and how it shaped her outcome in the movie. For our background information, we studied the definition of dissociation, and we applied the definition of the social construction theory to dissociation. Dissociation is defined as the detachment or loss of reality from physical or emotional experiences, and it ranges from mild to severe, therefore spacing out to psychosis. Dissociative identity disorder, or DID, is defined by the DSM-5 as two or more distinct subpersonalities. Each personality has unique memories, behaviors, thoughts, and emotions, and stress triggers the switching between personalities. For example, if someone needs protection and feels threatened, a different personality might pop out to their defense. These personalities usually stem from trauma, and they are used to prevent difficult memories from rising to the conscious. For example, physical abuse during childhood. Some treatments for dissociation or dissociative identity disorder include psychotherapy and or medication. For our sociological concepts, we focused on the social construction theory and incorporated ideas from Eviatar Zerubbabel's Islands of Meaning. Peter L. Berger and Thomas Luckman created the social construction of reality. Their key points were that what is perceived as reality is a social construction. Reality and knowledge are taken for granted, and society defines what is real based on beliefs, behavior, and social interactions and life experiences. Zerubbabel in Islands of Meaning defines boundaries and says that boundaries are how we know what we know. The social order is produced by boundaries, and boundaries are tools we use to construct social reality. This approach was very useful for our research because you need power in order to create social constructs, and dissociation means no boundary between reality and fantasy, so it indicates an issue with how they maintain power. And by they, we mean people who dissociate or have this dissociative identity disorder.
We focused on Zerubbabel's Island of Meaning and compared it to Sybil and how Sybil's dissociation has affected her sense of space, time, identity, and experience. Sybil's sense of time was affected. Whenever she is triggered, she blacks out, and in her blackout, she switches personalities and tends to break glass. Since glass is one of her triggers, there was an instance in the film where she blacked out in therapy, broke Connie's windows, and Connie is her psychiatrist, and became violent towards her. At the end of her blackout, she switched back to, herself being Sybil, and she was unaware that she was the one that did all of the damage, that broke the glass and was violent towards Connie. That is one of many examples throughout the film where her sense of time is distorted and inaccurate. In general, she doesn't remember when or how she got to a destination. And she meets people that know her but claims that she's never met them because she was most likely in another personality when she met the person or the people. That being said, in general, because her sense of time was distorted and inaccurate, she's missed multiple opportunities to create and remember happy memories as a result from her childhood trauma. Sybil's sense of space was also affected. During her blackouts, she tends to act really odd and has unusual behaviors. For example, she never remembered how she got to a hotel in New Jersey. Because of these odd behaviors during the blackouts, the relationship that she had quickly ended because her boyfriend took note of the odd behaviors and just didn't know what was going on. Sybil's sense of space was distorted. Her different personalities have different ages, and because of that, she has no real sense of space. As a result, Sybil guards her own personal space. She doesn't let anyone get near her, both physically and mentally. She is unable to trust partners and explain her diagnoses. She considers Connie as her only friend because she doesn't label Sybil as neurotic or crazy or insane. She validates and believes in her and her feelings. Sybil's sense of identity is the most distorted. She has 16 different personalities, each with their own unique voices and different emotions. For example, Peggy represents her anger. She holds the rage Sybil felt at her mother. Peggy expresses anger through temper tantrums and breaking glass. Vicky Antoinette is another personality. She is an 18-year-old girl with a French-like personality who knows all of Sybil's multiple personalities, though Sybil does not. Vicky is the narrator and informs Connie about Sybil's personalities, and Zerubbabel claims boundaries are tools used to create social reality. Through the findings, it indicates that Sybil cannot construct social reality. Each personality creates a boundary separating different emotions, like anger and sadness. In her social reality, she claims she loved her mom and never experienced trauma. All 16 personalities make up her identity. Without them, she cannot express herself. Connie suggested hypnosis to have all 16 personalities come together as one, creating one identity for Sybil. Throughout the hypnosis, Sybil uncovers childhood memories and suppressed emotions from each personality. Throughout the film, Sybil was unable to remember her passage from one experience to another in time and or space. She did not remember experiencing her first semester of college, marking an important milestone. After looking at the findings, Sybil can only recall one milestone, her first relationship with Tommy. Because Sybil cannot remember her passages from one experience to the next, it's unclear if she will recall other milestones, such as graduating from Columbia University, get married, or start a family. Karima and I conclude, being incapable of distinguishing reality versus fantasy does impact time, space, identity, and experience. To reiterate, society takes social constructs for granted. In the Islands of Meaning, it is assumed that everyone understands social constructs in society. Without understanding them, social relations can't be formed nor maintained. You will not experience important milestones and will not be a functioning member of society. Our personal motive for this research is genuine curiosity. We wanted to have a deeper understanding of dissociation. We learned that dissociation is a mental boundary, not just a condition or a mental illness. and we were able to apply sociological concepts to the real world.